I'm Amy and welcome to YogaTree. This is a hatha flow that is suitable for all levels of experience. My sequences will allow you to reconnect, relax and restore your bodies. So come on, let's go do some yoga. So today's session is the perfect stress reliever. We're going to reconnect with our bodies and we're going to use the spine as a visualization tool to help us really work within our own bodies and to really think about the movements that we're making. So let's get started. We're going to meet on the mat, sitting cross-legged. Now for some people, cross-legged can be very uncomfortable. So you can just put your feet out in front of you, or you can cross one in front of the other, or you can come into half lotus. You need to find what's comfortable for you. You need to just move any flesh from underneath your sitting bones and just start to come into the room. Now ideally you'd like to close your eyes, just think about what you can hear, what you can smell, maybe what you can taste in your mouth. And slowly bring your attention to your breath. In yoga, we like to breathe in and out through the nose. But most importantly, you find a rhythm of gentle flow throughout your practice. So we're going to start with a breathing exercise. So if you put your hands on your tummies, just gently rest them there. And we're going to take 4 breaths into our stomachs, breathing all the way in, pushing our stomachs right out as we breathe in. And noticing how it falls as we breathe out. Breathing in and out. In and out. Lovely. And then we're going to move our hands to the side of our ribs. So we just want to gently feel where our ribs are and just try and find a relaxed pose. Make sure our shoulders aren't near our ears. And again, we're just going to take 4 breaths, really trying to push our hands out with our ribs. Breathing in and out. And just noticing how our hands get pushed away as we breathe in and how they come back together as we breathe out. Take one more breath. Fabulous. And then you're going to bring your hands to your chest. And just as before, we're going to try and bring our breath all the way up to our chest, an area sometimes we don't breathe properly into. So breathing in and out. In, out. 2 more in your own time. Really noticing that movement, or perhaps noticing it's quite hard to breathe into this area, and that's a really good bit of homework for where you should continue to practice to try and get that breath nice and wide into all of our body, massaging all our internal organs. Right, so let's get started, and we're going to start lying on our mat. So if you want to come down to a comfortable lying position with your feet just in front of your sitting bones, and just as before, for a moment just settling, noticing your connection with the mat, and possibly also noticing where your body doesn't connect with the mat. And just breathing. Let's take a big deep breath in. And as we breathe out, we're just going to sigh it out. Let's do another one of those. Breathing in and sighing it out. Just noticing how the body starts to melt into the ground. And we're going to bring our feet mat distance apart and just start to drop our knees from one side to the other, keeping our shoulders on the ground and just beginning to awaken our hips. The fronts of our thighs, our hip flexors, our knees, just noticing. And we're going to bring our knees into our chest and imagining that our knees are the headlights. We're going to draw circles of light on the ceiling, feeling a beautiful massage into your lower back, trying to be mindful in your movement. Having to use your abdominals when you get to certain points to keep it steady. Rotating one way then the other, and possibly wanting to take your knees and start to separate them, and imagine your thighs are the spoons and your hip joints are the pots, and you're stirring the pot, awakening these hips. Then we're going to bring our feet back down to the mat, and we're just going to start by pushing into our feet. So nothing's happening apart from my pelvis is just slightly tipping. And we're just pushing in, feeling that tension through our feet, up through our thighs, massaging the very base of our spine, where our root chakra sits. And then we're going to take our right foot and we're going to cross it over our bent left foot, and then we're going to just bring our knees towards us and feel a lovely stretch in our glutes. Breathing in to maybe release a little, and as we breathe out, extend the stretch. Breathing in to release, breathing out to bring it towards you. One more time, in and out. Super. Then we're just going to drop both feet back down. Find a nice balanced pelvis, and then cross our left foot over the right knee, and then bring that knee towards us. Taking a moment just to settle, to try and track that right hip back onto the ground so that we're not slipping over. And then just using our breath. So as we breathe in, maybe releasing a little, and as we breathe out, drawing our knee towards us. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. And one more time. And then we're going to release those down. We're going to bring our feet above our hips and our hands above our shoulders in our, I like to call it dead cockroach pose, but gravity pose. So using gravity to support these joints that have such a hard time on them. Just rotating your wrists and your ankles, awakening the synovial fluid that encapsulates these joints, letting them crick and crack their way. Really nice. And then from here we're going to bring our feet in front of our sitting bones again. We're going to go back to that slight pressure of pushing into our feet. But this time we're going to imagine, like a naughty dog, we're going to tuck our tail under. And as we tuck our tail under, we're going to push up through our spine, using our glutes to guide us, making sure our knees aren't splaying out. You want your knees to stay parallel, possibly lifting your toes and putting them back down again to really get that grip through the feet. And then as we breathe in, we just take a moment, and as we breathe out, we're going to slowly roll back down, one vertebra at a time, all the way to the bottom, to the tip of your very spine, your tail. Have a little wriggle, and then we're going to do that again. So breathe in to prepare. And as you breathe out, slowly rolling up, one vertebra at a time, like someone's playing a piano up your spine, thinking about your toes, thinking about your grounding of your feet, your knees facing forward like headlights, your hips nice and secure, and then breathing out as you slowly roll all the way back down. Lovely. And then just bring your knees into you, have a little rock. And then we're just going to roll on to our side and push up to a seated position. Well done everybody, you're doing so well already. Okay, I'm just going to show you another position before we go into it. So don't sit so that you can't see what I'm doing. I don't want you to strain your neck at all. So we're going to come into a cat-cow. So it starts off with a tabletop position with your knees underneath your hips and your hands underneath your shoulders. Now some people can find it really painful in their wrists and in their shoulders, so you can play around with where feels comfortable for you. You could also possibly go onto a knuckle, or you can really try and spread your fingers out and use the fingertips to create almost like a lock, a banda. So even though the heels of the hands are there, the fingers are working extremely hard as well. So we're going to breathe in to find a neutral spine, imagining there's a string pulling the crown of your head away, that your ears and your shoulders have got lots of space, that your tailbone is just slightly tucked in, so you've got a nice flat back, your shoulders aren't collapsed. From here you're going to breathe in, and as you breathe out you're going to tuck your tail under like a naughty dog. You're going to let your head drop down. You're going to push through those fingertips. Maybe nod and shake your head so that your neck isn't engaged. And from there you're going to drop your tummy. Look just ahead of you. Bring your shoulders away from your ears and breathe in. And as you breathe out, tucking your tail under, dropping your head, nod and shake your head. And then finding that flow from one movement to the other. Not worrying if you can't keep the rhythm of the breathing, just making sure that you do continue to breathe. Really nice. From there we're going to drop our sitting bones back. We're going to bring our knees wide. We're going to stretch our arms out in front of us and come into a child's pose. If you have any shoulder issues, you may prefer to keep your hands nearer you. But if you want the full stretch, you can stretch your arms right out and really have an active stretch through the body. And at any point, if any of the poses that you find difficult, you can always come back to child's pose as a resting pose. All right? From there, we're going to bring our hands in front of us. And we're going to tuck our toes under, push our sitting bones up, and come into our first downward dog. From here you might want to pedal your feet through, making sure you don't try and strain your neck. Shoulders away from ears, and then we're just going to walk towards our hands towards our feet, and slowly curl one vertebra at a time, all the way up to the top, finding our mountain pose, Tadasana, and breathe. I'm really thinking about bringing our shoulders back, thinking about that crown of our head lifting us up, but our toes grounding down a slight bend maybe in your knees so we're not locking out, and then tucking that slight tuck of the tailbone. And we take 3 breaths into Tadasana. And then from here we're going to bring our hands up above us. We're going to bring them to a Y. We're going to bring them to T, then a Y. And we're going to slowly bring our hands up to a T, then a Y. Then we're going to clasp them behind our head and tuck our chin under. And then slowly curl our body down, 1 vertebra at a time, all the way down. Imagining your spine unfolding. Let go of your arms. Nod and shake your head. Breathe. And then just slight bend in your knee as you tuck your tail under. You slowly start to stack those vertebrae, one on top of the other, all the way up to the top. Finding the length in the crown. Shoulders coming away from ears. Feeling the strength of Tadasana, the length. Bringing your hands up. T, Y. Tucking your chin under. Looking towards your stomach. Looking towards your knees. Dropping down, all the way down. Nod and shake. And then curl all the way up. 1 vertebra at a time. As though someone is playing your spine. Lovely, well done everybody. Let's just shake that out a little bit. Let's do a nice deep breath in, and as we breathe out we're just going to sigh it out. So we're going to go breathe in and out. And again breathe in and out. Well done, really good. Right, we're going to move on to a little balance just to see how balanced are we. And depending on how you're feeling, sometimes it can be really difficult to balance. The key to balancing though is that you find a really strong grounded leg. We're going to try a tree balance, but we're only going to try it where it feels comfortable for us. So first things first, you want to pour all of your weight right down into your left leg. So pouring your weight down into the left leg will make this leg, your right leg, start to feel light. From there, you want to lift up your toes and separate them so you can really grip on with your toes and feel that security. You want to make sure your knee is not locked out because that will throw your balance off completely. You want a nice, strong, active knee. And then maybe bringing your hands to your hips. Maybe finding something that's still that you can use as your kind of guideline. And just bring your foot up. It can be just to your ankle. It can be to your calf or further past your knee. The one place you don't want it is on top of your knee. Okay? So we're going to take 5 breaths here in our tree pose. Well done. Don't worry if you fall off, you can just come back on again. If you want to hold on to the wall, that's completely feasible as well to start off with. Okay, let's go on to the other side now. Really bringing the weight, pouring it down through the right foot, lifting up those toes, spreading them, having a lovely grounded, rooted foot. Then deciding where you're going to be looking, thinking about your tailbone. If you started to arch your back. Bringing that crown in, finding that length, not locking out your knee that you're standing on, And slowly finding that balance and breathing in. Just watch this hip, make sure it doesn't jut out. Keep thinking up, 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 up. And come out. Well done, everybody. You've done really well. Give your body a really big shake. We're then going to just take a big wide stance. We're going to bend our knees with our heels pointing inwards. We're going to tuck that tail slightly under, finding that grounding. We're not sticking out our bottoms. And then we're going to come into our goddess pose and just find stillness here. Breathing in and out. In. Brilliant, you've done so well. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe yourself back together. And then from here we're going to take a forward bend, but without curving our spine. We're going to hinge from the hips. So you might want to just have a look for me. So we're going to breathe in. And then as we breathe out, we're going to hinge forward and come down to the mat. And from there, we're just going to go back into our tabletop position. From our tabletop position, we're going to bring our right foot and step it between our hands at the front. We want to make sure our back knee isn't in line with our front foot. So there's almost like a train track happening. And then from here, we're just going to open up those hips and we're going to flow forward and back. Really being mindful of our own bodies, where feels comfortable. You might just get as far as here, that is totally fine, but as long as you are tracking this knee out, so you're not going in, and you're using your hands to support you. See how I move my hands? You don't want to try and keep your hands in the same place. And this time as we get to the front, we're going to find a nice secure balance there with our feet. We're going to bring our hands up above and just hold a low lunge. Then we're going to bring our hands into prayer position. We're going to twist towards the bent knee. We're going to hook that outside elbow and then we're going to breathe. Twists are so good for our internal organs. Give them a lovely massage. So good if you're having any digestive issues. And breathe. Hard to talk in though. Okay, coming back to the front. Just going to bring that knee back. Maybe have a wiggle, a waggle of your tail. And then we're going to bring our left foot forward in front between our hands. Again, making sure we've got train tracks between our knee and our front foot, that they're not on a tight rope. And we're just going to move. Moving gently, mindfully in your body. Seeing where you feel tight. Listening to your body, not forcing anything that doesn't feel right. And then our final one, coming up to our low lunge, shoulders away from ears. Pushing into our feet and our knee, almost creating traction between these two. So we have a lovely solid base. And bringing our hands into prayer position and twisting over, hooking it round the side and breathing. Breathing in to try and send energy to where it feels tight. Breathing out to try and stretch a little further. Well done everyone, you're doing so well. We're nearly there now. We're coming down to a seated position. A seated position with our feet in front of our sitting bones. Again, you might need to clear a little flesh from the protecting your sitting bones. And then you're going to find that crown again. Find that crown. Think about that length through the spine. Coming high. And then from there, we're going to imagine we've got a beach ball. And we're giving our beach ball a big hug. And as we give our beach ball a big hug, our pelvis tips, our little doggy tail tucks under. Our spine becomes a C shape and our body moves back. And then we're going to breathe in. As we stretch forward, extending the spine, breathing out. And you'll find as you do this exercise, not only is it so good for your chest, your shoulders, but your lower abdominals just naturally switch on. You don't have to do anything. And then we get to a point that we feel we can just about do, and we're going to hold it for 3 breaths. Keeping that C in your spine. Nearly there. This is the hard bit, the last bit. Well done, and we're going to go into relaxation now. And from here we're going to just see if we can roll down very slowly using those muscles all the way back down to the mat. And then we're going to take a full body stretch from the fingertips to the toes, saying thank you to our body for what they've been able to do today. And then from there you might want to walk your feet towards the right hand side and then walk your hands towards the right hand side, keeping your back on the floor, keeping your bum on the floor, making sure you've got that contact there so you feel a lovely stretch all the way down your left hand side of your body. If you want to take it a little further, you can take your left foot and cross it over your right ankle, and you can grab hold of your right wrist with your left hand, which deepens the stretch even further. Take 3 lovely, meaningful, long breaths here. Well done, and then we're going to slowly walk ourselves back to the middle, find that alignment in the middle, and then keep walking over to the left hand side with our arms and with our feet, crossing our right foot over our left ankle if we want to, and grabbing hold of our right wrist. Now if you're like me and you've got issues with your shoulders, then sometimes extending too far in this position can be quite damaging. And breathe and notice coming back to the centre. Well done everyone. Let's just bring our knees up, one last rotation there. And then bring your hands out to a T and just dropping your knees all the way over to the right hand side for a lovely spinal twist to finish off. Breathing in, using the out breath to let go where it feels tight. Taking 2 more breaths here. Noticing how your spine feels compared to the beginning of the class. Maybe noticing any energy movement that has been released, any warmth, any coldness. And then coming back to the centre, just find your centre before you move over to the other side. And then dropping your knees over to the left hand side. Just take a moment to think about your right shoulder. Is it still connecting to the mat? That is what we want, for shoulders to be connected to the mat and the twist to happen completely in the lower part of our spine. Our spine that has done us so many lovely movements today in our practice. And then finally we're going to bring our knees back up to centre. We're going to breathe in, and as we breathe in, we're going to really, really breathe in and hug our knees towards us. As we breathe out, we're going to let them drop, but we're going to breathe out with a sigh. So I'll just show you how that's going to look. We're going to breathe in and out. So let them slam down. 2 more. And 1 more time. And lovely. Now it's time to move on to our Savasana. So find yourself in a comfortable lying down position. You may feel comfortable just lying in corpse pose with your legs and arms out. Or if that isn't comfortable for you, because any lower back problems, you can bring your feet mat distance apart and drop your knees in towards each other so they're nice and allows your hips to switch off. But finding your comfortable place and getting ready for Shavasana. We're going to decide whether you want your hands, your palms to be facing upward, which is a symbol of receiving, or for your palms to be facing towards the ground, to have you holding on to what you've got, keeping hold of the energy you've got. Nice to open to receiving. We're going to go back to that breath from the start of our class. We're going to bring our hands to our tummies. We're going to breathe into our tummies. And as we breathe out, we're going to notice how our body starts to melt into the mat. We're going to notice where the tension feels. Breathing in big tummies. Breathing out, tummies go down. Bring our hands to either side of our ribs. Breathing in to the sides of our ribs and feeling them expand. Noticing how our fingers come back together as we breathe out. Breathing in, wide and full. Breathing out, gentle. Breathing in and breathing out. And then we bring our hands to our chests, bringing that breath all the way up through our lungs into the tops of our chest. And letting go. Breathing in and letting go. Breathing in and then allowing your hands to drop either side. We'll take one last body scan. Starting at the tips of our toes, noticing each toe, in between the toes, the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, the ankles, the thigh, the hips, the shoulders, the wrists, the hands, breathing in and out, acknowledging those thoughts as they pass by, perhaps naming them and then letting go of them, like clouds in the sky. Feeling the cool breath as it comes in through your nose and the warm breath as it leaves. The stillness, the tingles of energy, the relaxed body. Slowly bringing yourself back into the room, wriggling your fingers and toes, maybe bringing your knees in towards you for a little hug, or just doing what feels right for you. And we'll all meet on our sides. Take a moment just to come back into the room. And then pushing into your top hand, coming to a seated position. Visualizing that spine one more time from the root, from your tailbone, all the way up past your hips, to your shoulders, to your neck, to the crown of your head. Well done everybody for taking the time to restore, reconnect and relax your body. I hope that you will sleep much better after that practice and come back soon for something different. Take care. Bye bye.